Welcome back to yet another episode. We are at the tail end of the Europa League group stage for the sixth and final match day. Three teams fighting for two spots. Ludogorets, as we know, is already out, and basically all three teams that are left are going to have European football, so to say, after the winter break. So it's just a matter of who finishes where. So Red Star takes on Braga away from home. Some interesting news. I watched a news conference today. Dejan Stankovic just answering questions and about the health of some of the players. So Sekou Sonogo will not play. He's still injured. He kind of tried to fight through it as much as he can, but he just simply can't go. So he will be out, which is a huge miss for Red Star because the team goes pretty much as he goes. You can really argue that he's been Red Star's best player throughout this entire Europa League group stage. I know there's been some other standouts, but I think he's been the best player when you take a look at the team as a whole. And interesting news again, Felipe Falco will not travel with the team. Dan Stankovic just said that he's injured, and he looked very pissed in the conference, saying basically, some guys aren't really built to play through injuries. Clearly talking about Falco, and he says guys who are like that are pretty much going to remain like that throughout their entire career. So it's nothing that can really change. And that's kind of been the story with a lot of players. I think from this team, you have Diony, who was a question mark. He was injured. Stankovic didn't really know what was going on with him. You had Ryszard Roživković, who was also injured. Didn't really know too much what was going on with him either. I think he had like a hamstring injury or something. Felipe Falco, we literally don't know what's wrong with him. He's just injured. I don't want to waste too much time on this because I've spoke about it so many different times. He just hasn't fit in with the club, and it feels like every time he's kind of a match or two away from being a really productive player for this team, he gets injured, and wouldn't be shocked if he's sold in January already. To go to the lineup, I think a back, and I usually don't like reading anything before I do my predictions because I don't want it to sway what I say. A lot of people have Red Star going with 3-4-2-1. I think it's just going to be a standard 4-2-3-1. Two big questions in the back line, I think, lie. Borjan, we know, is going to be in net. Rodic is going to be on the left. Dragovic is going to be one of the center backs. I think the question is who the second center back is. So is it Pankov? Is it Erakovic, who has been playing a lot lately? Is it Degenek, who hasn't featured almost at all since his red card against Midtjylland? And on the right, what happens? I think that it should be Gajic. I think Gobilic has done... he's picked up 4 red cards in 4 seasons in European play. I think that's more than... This is a very important match, and we can't have stupid stuff going on and worrying about guys picking up red cards, in key moments of the game or early on in the match, as we saw against Midtjylland, which ended up costing the team a 1-0 loss. And that was, we're in the final match day, and looks like that was a huge loss for Red Star at home, which is something a lot of people didn't see coming. So I would go with Gajic ahead of Gobilic. I don't want to see Gobilic anywhere near this team, and that's why I would go with Gajic at that position. The two defensive midfielders, I thought, when I heard that Sonogo was out, I thought right away it's going to be Kanga and Sunic, just because Sunic has played, it feels like, in every important match this season, even though, I should say, he started every important match this season, even though he doesn't play much in the domestic league off the bench or anything like that. But it feels like he started every important match for Red Star. It looks like it is going to be Njegos Petrovic, and credit to Stankovic because he has worked Njegos Petrovic into that starting lineup very nicely in the last 2 or 3 weeks. For a guy who hadn't played a lot this season, he's really getting more and more playing time, and I think that Stankovic will start him in that position. And Stankovic spoke about it at the conference as well, saying that he's been really satisfied with how he's handled the last 2 or 3 weeks, and he's playing very well for a guy who didn't feature much in the previous 2.5 months. Up top, I think it's gonna be Ben, Kanga, Ben, Ivanic, and Katai. And up top, it's going to be Pavkov. Pavkov, again, is really the only answer up top in terms of like who the go-to striker is. You can play Ben in that role. I really don't like Ben in the role, though, just because long balls don't work at all in that scenario because we don't have very tall players. With Pavkov up there, he's able to head the ball, he's able to get everyone involved, and I really like Pavkov more in that position. And truth be told, I would even like Lazetic in that position ahead of Ben. I think sticking Ben on the right or the left is the thing to do. And I've said it before, Ben's very lucky that there's not much competition for his spot on this team, it feels like, with Falco out and Živković really not in form. So Ben is pretty much starting majority of the matches. In the domestic league, he sometimes plays one half, and then Živković or Falco come on and they play the second half. I think it's a fairly good rotation strategy from Stanković, truth be told, because it allows some guys who maybe aren't in form to kind of get into form, maybe score a goal or two, and then they kind of get into a good rhythm, which is exactly what happened with Falco. So he had a goal and assist, I think it was a few weeks ago, and it looked like it was starting to look up for him a little bit. And then now, he's injured again and he won't travel with the team to Portugal. So that position is kind of Ben's to take. And like I said, Pavkov is the only real answer up top. I think it's a little bit too early for Lazetic. I think Stanković at least thinks that way. I don't think so. I think he should just be given minutes, honestly, and the faster he learns, the better. He has a lot of experience with the U21s, and he's completely outgrown that. Fully expect him to be a part of the team in the future. In terms of the match, I think Red Star is going to have to be able to deal with the pressure. Look, Braga needs to win this match as well, because if they lose and Red Star does win, they might be going to Conference League depending on what happens in the other match. Now, Galeno is a question mark, and so is Al Musrati. I thought Al Musrati, apparently he's I don't watch much Braga, I apologize, but it feels like he is a big part of this team in terms of what he does defensively. I thought he was one of the worst players on the pitch in the match in Belgrade. I thought when he got pressured, he lost the ball very easily. So when he's put in pressure situations, he tends to lose the ball. And if he does start, I fully expect Red Star to kind of pressure him as much as they can, at least when he has the ball. It's just something that I picked up from the first match. It just didn't feel like he was very comfortable on the ball. And if it sticks out for me, then I can only imagine what he does to people who know the sport of football much better than I do. Galeno was the gentleman who scored in Belgrade, and I believe he scored against Midtjylland, which was a crazy good goal from the left side into the goalkeeper's left-hand corner. So if he can't go, it's going to be a big blow for Braga, but it'll be great for Red Star. Although I still think that the team has a lot of good players, which Horta showed us that, and he's shown throughout the entire Europa League stage. And something that Stanković and the Braga coach said, this isn't the same Braga team from September. They're playing really well now. They're scoring a lot of goals. Horta's a big part of what they do going forward. And defensively, they're fairly sound. But Ivanic and Katai have the ability to really break down other teams' backlines. You can see what they did against, or at least what Ivanic did against a very good AC Milan side in last year's Europa League. And, having Katai there is just going to provide him with not as much pressure as he probably felt against AC Milan. I think it's going to be a great match, but like I said, it's going to be very important that Red Star defend perfectly this match, if I can say that, because Braga's going to come out needing the win. They're going to come out strong, and their coach promised in his his press conference that Braga will finish first in the group and that they will go on to the knockout stages. Again, second place in this group has to go in a playoff against third place from Champions League, which I don't think you want to get any of the teams from Champions League, but that's kind of what's on the line here. And third place obviously goes to the Conference League. But like I said, it should be a great match. I think what happens in the middle of the pitch is going to determine who the winner is here. Even though Red Star beat Braga 2-1 in Belgrade, it wasn't a very sound performance. I mean, Red Star scored a goal in like the 73rd minute, and then they conceded right away in the 74th or 75th. So basically right off kickoff, they conceded. So they can't have... they have to be very concentrated the entire 90 minutes because we saw what happened, like I just said, in Belgrade, and they can't allow that to happen. Basically whoever wins this match is automatically through. If this ends in a tie, I believe Red Star is out unless Midtjylland loses. So for Red Star, I think the best option is going for the win. It's important that Red Star remain patient. We've had some issues with scoring goals from like set pieces, which which was our best weapon last season. Just not a lot of top players, not a lot of guys who could get their ball in the head. So that's something to watch for in this match as well. And like I said, it's going to be a great match, and all eyes are going to be on the other match taking place between Ludogorets and Midtjylland.